Hi everyone, it's me Peter of GIZGUIDE.com and welcome back to the GIZGUIDE YouTube channel. Happy New Year! Today we have the OnePlus Nord N10 5G. Technically, this is the very first smartphone to launch here in the Philippines this year. What made us excited about this phone is it is the most affordable smartphone in the country yet with 5G connectivity. Among all officially launched smartphones here, it is the cheapest with 5G at 14,990 pesos. And those who will buy this phone at Shopee, Lazada, and Home Office by Digital Walker Online, you can get it at an even more affordable price tag of 13,990 pesos until January 10, 2020. And aside from being the most affordable 5G ready smartphone in the country yet, it also has very competitive specs for the price. To recap, this handset boasts a 6.49-inch 2.5D curved Gorilla Glass 3 protected LCD display with FHD Plus resolution and 90Hz refresh rate. Moreover, it has a Snapdragon 690 5G octa-core processor, and it has 6GB of LPDDR4X RAM, 1 to 8GB of UFS 2.1 expandable storage, and a 4,300 mAh battery with USB-C 30 watts wired charge 30 technology. In addition, there is a quad camera setup at the back consisting of a 64MP f1.79 main shooter from OmniVision, and then there is an 8MP f2.25 ultra-wide-angle camera, 2MP f2.4 macro camera, and a 2MP f2.4 mono camera. And for selfies, it has a 16MP f2.05 front-facing shooter found on the upper left punch hole on its display. This is also complete with a fingerprint scanner for an extra layer of security, stereo speakers, dual-band Wi-Fi, 4G LTE, Bluetooth 5.1, NFC, GPS, GLONASS, Beidou, and dual SIM slots. It runs with Android 10 OS with the highly rated Oxygen OS 10.5 skin with a guaranteed update of 1 major update and 2 years of security updates. To cut the long story short, there are very few who can compete with its overall specs under 15,000 pesos. So without any further ado, let's begin its unboxing. As you can see here, the OnePlus Nord N10 5G arrived with a very different looking box compared to traditional OnePlus phones with red packaging. It has a black box with a light blue N10 logo that indicates that this is the Nord N10 5G. Upon opening, what we will first see is this, and this small box contains the paper documentations like this. I think this is the quick start guide, highest SIR value information, safety information, and aside from that, you will also find this SIM ejector tool that you can use to open the SIM tray slot of the phone. Next is the handset itself. As you can see here, this is the OnePlus Nord N10 5G covered in plastic, so we're removing that now. And then after that, we will find the traditional red cable of OnePlus. Likely this is USB-C to USB-A. Yes, I'm correct. This is USB-C to USB-A. And then this charger. This is the Warp Charge 30 power brick. Yes, guys, it still has a charger included inside the box. Unlike other manufacturers who are already removing the free in-box chargers. And not only that, this is a fast charger. Versus the packaging of the more premium OnePlus 8T and OnePlus 8 Pro, as well as the older OnePlus 7 and OnePlus 7 Pro, it didn't arrive with a free case this time. And unlike other mid-rangers, similarly priced mid-rangers, it didn't come with the pre-installed screen protector. Likely, those are the measures that OnePlus implemented in this handset to keep its price very low. In fact, the 14,890 pesos price tag of the OnePlus Nord N10 5G is so much cheaper compared to the GBP 329 price tag of this same device in UK. And in comparison, that is around 20,000 pesos. So what we have here in the Philippines is really way cheaper. For the build and design, this is a pretty nice looking device for under 15,000 pesos. Actually, it reminded me of the Oppo A92 last year, but that device didn't have this fingerprint scanner in the upper middle portion of the phone. What's noticeable is they have the same rectangular shaped camera hump with an L-shaped type of camera layout. The difference is the LED flash is in the middle portion of the camera island. Obviously, the material that OnePlus used in its back is plastic. In short, plastic, but it still looks like glass, and I like that it is very shiny and it isn't cheap looking at all. I also find this to be very comfortable to hold thanks to its 3D arcing curve back design. Its back fingerprint scanner is also snappy, but unlike other phones with a side-mounted fingerprint scanner, it isn't as clean looking. Its back is not that clean looking. In front, its 6.49-inch 2.5D display is protected by Gorilla Glass 3. And here, we notice that it has slim top bezels. The side bezels are also very slim. Only the shin bezel is a little bit thicker than what we wanted, but that is normal on phones with LCD display instead of AMOLED. Personally, I would have liked it better if the shin bezel is a little slimmer than this for a more immersive viewing experience. But again, for the price, this is just fine. Similar to a lot of modern smartphones, it has a punch hole on the upper left portion of its screen for the front-facing camera. And that made this display a little bit more immersive compared to other phones with a notch or a bigger type of notch like the iPhone. On top, there is this hole for the microphone. Below, you will see that it has the first speaker here, as well as the USB Type-C, another microphone, and a 3.5mm headphone jack. At left, you will find that it has this SIM tray slot, as well as the volume up and volume down keys. And at right, you will find the usual power key. For the SIM tray slot, this is what it looks like. What's new here is this is the very first OnePlus device that we tested with a slot for the microSD card. This means that you can expand its storage up to 512 gigs. To nitpick, there's no red rubber ring here, suggesting that there's no water resistance for this handset. Another thing that's new here is there's no more slider. The shortcut key for silent, vibrate, and ring. Oh, by the way, its ear speaker found on the top of the phone also acts as a secondary speaker to enable this device have that stereo effect. Overall, this is a fairly attractive device for the 14,990 pesos based on its specs and design. This is one of the most stylish around, and thanks to its not that big size, it is also one of the most comfortable to hold found in its price point. My last gripe is this. It is just a bit prone to fingerprint smudges like other phones with glossy back exterior. The other highlight of this phone are the cameras. At the back, it is sporting a 64MP f1.79 main camera, and that main camera is an OmniVision sensor, the 64MP OmniVision OV64B, and that is a 0.7 micron pixel size sensor that is pretty big for a mid-range camera. And aside from that, it has an 8MP secondary shooter at f2.25, and then you will also see an f2.4 macro sensor and a 2MP f2.4 mono sensor, plus an LED flash. And in front, found on its punch hole, you will find a 16MP f2.05 shooter. The camera UI is very OnePlus. It is very easy to use. You will find the ultra-wide angle mode easily. You can zoom easily. You can switch to the video easily, and you will find the other very useful features of this camera like the portrait mode and nightscape, as well as the pro mode in just a click. It also has an option to access its 64MP camera instead of the 16MP pixel bin mode. Personally, I like the 16MP more, as pixel binning produces more vibrant photos that is better in low light as well. One thing that we noticed with its camera interface this time is it isn't as fast compared to the higher end OnePlus phones in terms of shooting and in terms of navigation, but that is understandable since this one is using a lower end type of chipset compared to its more premium OnePlus brothers that are definitely more expensive. Now let's take a look at the first camera samples that we took using the OnePlus Nord N10 5G. As expected, its main camera shoots decent images in daylight using either the main or wide cameras. The zoom is decent up to 2 times as well, but its 10x zoom is far from great. Photo saving speed is not the fastest around, but the autofocus speed is fast enough to work well on some not that fast moving subjects. It has a macro mode as well, but for me it only works well in daylight or in conditions with very good lighting. Render performance is surprisingly good in detail. It has a very nice tap to focus feature. The portrait mode for the bokeh effect is usable thanks to its okay edge detection and respectable subject to background separation. Color accuracy is decent as well. It doesn't produce oversaturated images, but it is a bit paler than the subject in person. In low light, it's decent, not great, but not bad. The ultra-wide cam will struggle more though. The nightscape mode could help you see in the dark. Use it when you need it. For selfies, daylight selfies are natural looking. Bokeh effect is decent, but it is a bit grainy. Even for indoors, we find it to be decent. When wearing a mask, expect it to produce warmer selfies. Low light selfies are alright, but with lesser quality. If you can, use the screen flash mode. For videos, it records up to 4K 30fps, but it is shaky. Its 1080p mode is better for us. In front, it records good quality up to 1080p selfies, but with crop. For 5G, it uses the X51 5G modem from Qualcomm, but it only has the sub 6 GHz support. Still, that's better than not having 5G at all, even if its 5G reception is understandably a bit weaker versus higher-end smartphones. Our first impressions, even if you remove its now and future-ready 5G connectivity, it still has a stylish build, good enough looking display with a high refresh rate for your enhanced viewing pleasure, a speedy enough Snapdragon 690 chip that can run a lot of apps with ease including some heavy games, an ample 4300 mAh of battery with 30 watts OnePlus fast charge, and decent back quad cameras. I would also like to stress that the Snapdragon 690 is no joke despite being a Snapdragon 600 mid-range chip. It was built using the 8nm process with a speedier and newer Cortex A77 cores versus the Cortex A76 of the usual Snapdragon 732 and Snapdragon 720 chips. The benchmark score is actually slightly higher than Snapdragon 720 and about the same with Snapdragon 732, but it has 5G unlike those two other 700 series chipsets. And of course, one of its biggest selling points, this is the most affordable with the highly regarded near stock-like Oxygen OS skin. While it only has a guaranteed 1 major update and 2 years of security update, that's still better than a lot of mid-range phones with no update at all. So far, we think that this is a pretty competitive smartphone for the price. Actually, it is a very competitive one. So that's it for now. That's our first look and impressions for this new OnePlus Nord N10 5G, the very first 5G smartphone in the Philippines this year, priced under 15,000 pesos. Again, this is Peter of GIZGUIDEPH.com. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, Happy New Year, watch out for our full review. Please like and subscribe if you have time and if you like this video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!